Have you ever wondered how a simple $1 coin could be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Today, we're diving deep into the top 4 most fascinating stories in American numismatics. The first up, the 1971 Eisenhower dollar. At first glance, it looks just like any other silver-colored coin minted in the post-silver era. But hidden among the millions of ordinary coins are a few rare specimens that collectors around the world are willing to pay a fortune for. In this video, we'll uncover what makes certain 1971 $1 coins so valuable, the history behind their creation, how to identify them, and the incredible story of the most expensive 1971 Eisenhower dollar ever sold. Let's set the scene. The Eisenhower dollar was introduced in 1971 to honor President Dwight D. Eisenhower and to commemorate the Apollo 11 moon landing. The obverse features a portrait of Eisenhower, designed by Frank Asparo, and the reverse shows a modified version of the Apollo 11 insignia, a bald eagle landing on the moon with an olive branch in its talons. This design was symbolic, not only of the space race, but of peace and progress. While millions of these coins were minted, most were intended for circulation, made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, and not particularly rare. But not all Eisenhower dollars were created equal among these. The true treasures are the rare 1971 S-proof and uncirculated coins struck in 40% silver, and even more elusive, the error coins and pattern coins that were never meant to reach the public. You see, when the U.S. Mint began production of the Eisenhower dollar in 1971, they did so at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia and Denver struck the copper-nickel-clad coins for circulation, while San Francisco focused on producing special silver-clad issues for collectors. These were marked with an S, mint mark, and sold in proof and uncirculated sets. However, mistakes and anomalies during the minting process gave rise to some incredibly rare versions of this coin. Now, let's talk about what makes a particular 1971 Eisenhower dollar worth more than just face value. It comes down to several factors: mint location, composition, strike quality, and most importantly, errors. Some of the most valuable coins are the 1971 S silver dollars in exceptional proof, condition graded PR 70, or near perfect. But the real stars of the show are the pattern coins and mint errors. In one famous example, a 1971 Eisenhower dollar struck on a 40% silver planchet at the Philadelphia Mint, which wasn't supposed to have silver coins at all, sold for over $250,000 at auction. This coin became known among collectors as a wrong planchet error, and because it defied mint policy and protocol, it became a holy grail for those who specialize in U.S. modern coinage. The coin was discovered when a collector noticed the weight seemed off, too heavy for the standard clad version. Testing confirmed the silver content, and further investigation revealed that a small number of silver planchets, meant for San Francisco, were accidentally used in Philadelphia. This error alone made the coin astronomically valuable. Only a few are known to exist today, and every time one appears at auction, it stirs a frenzy among collectors. The last one sold brought in a staggering sum, reinforcing how something as small and seemingly mundane as a coin can turn into a once-in-a-lifetime. Find the story of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar also reflect a transitional moment in U.S. coinage history. After the Coinage Act of 1965, the U.S. Mint ceased production of 90% silver coins for circulation. The Eisenhower dollar, introduced 6 years later, was the first dollar coin issued since the peace dollar ended in 1935. However, because of its large size and heavy weight, it never gained traction with the general public. Most Americans simply didn't like carrying around such a bulky coin, and as a result, many of them were hoarded, stored in vaults, or forgotten entirely. That hoarding behavior ironically preserved many high-grade examples, but only a few made it into circulation, especially in pristine condition. Throughout the years, collectors began to pay closer attention to the varieties of the 1971 Ike dollar. Some versions exhibit what's known as the friendly eagle reverse, a slight design variation that alters the eagle's facial expression and feather details. Others feature doubling in the lettering, known as doubling die errors. These small details may seem insignificant, but for coin experts, they can mean the difference between a coin worth $1 and one worth thousands. So what should you look for if you happen to come across a 1971 Eisenhower dollar in your pocket change, a family collection, or an old roll of coins from the bank? First, check the mint mark. If you see an S, that means it's from San Francisco and potentially a silver-clad collector's issue. Next, check the coin's weight. Silver-clad coins will weigh slightly more than their clad counterparts. A precise scale and a little knowledge can go a long way. Also, pay attention to unusual colorations or luster. Proof coins will have a mirror-like surface, while uncirculated ones should appear crisp and detailed. Lastly, if you suspect you have an error or silver version from the Philadelphia Mint, get it graded. Professional grading services can authenticate and appraise the coin, giving you clarity and potentially unlocking its hidden value. Many viewers are probably wondering, why would someone pay six figures for a coin that was only supposed to be worth $1? The answer lies in rarity, provenance, and passion. Coin collecting, also known as numismatics, isn't just a hobby. For many, it's an investment, a historical pursuit, and an adventure. The rare 1971 Silver Strike era coin is more than a piece of metal. It's a time capsule from a unique moment in American minting history, a testament to human error and a treasure hunt victory for those lucky enough to discover one. Before we wrap up, let's touch on one more fascinating piece of the puzzle. Some experts speculate that there may still be unknown silver planchet 1971 coins out there, hidden away in jars, drawers, or forgotten coin collections. Because the Eisenhower dollar was never wildly popular with the public, and because millions were stored away untouched, there's always a chance that an undiscovered gem is waiting to be found. So, next time you find a heavy, clunky dollar coin with President Eisenhower on it, don't dismiss it too quickly. You might just be holding a six-figure mistake, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started. The story of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar reminds us that even in a modern era, treasure can still be hiding in plain sight. The next up, the 1972 Eisenhower $1 coin. At first glance, it might look like just another big, heavy dollar coin from the early 70s. But let me tell you, hidden among the millions of these coins are a few rare and valuable pieces that could be worth thousands, yes, thousands of dollars today. Whether you're just getting into coin collecting or you've been stacking silver for years, you won't miss this deep dive into how a humble $1,972 coin became a numismatic legend. Let's rewind the clock to the early 1970s. The Eisenhower dollar was first minted in 1971, honoring President Dwight D. Eisenhower and the Apollo 11 moon landing, an incredible dual tribute. It was the first U.S. dollar coin minted since the peace dollar ended in 1935, and it marked a return to large, hefty coinage. Unlike the small-sized dollars we're used to today, the Eisenhower dollars were big, bold, and unapologetically heavy. Most were made of a copper-nickel clad composition, except for special collector versions that were struck in 40% silver. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1972 issue came with a twist that makes it one of the most mysterious and potentially valuable of all Eisenhower dollars. In 1972, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced over 75 million Eisenhower dollars. But not all of them were created equal. In fact, that year, 3 distinct reverse designs known as Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 were used to strike the coins. And one of these, Type 2, is where the value skyrockets. To the untrained eye, the reverse of the Eisenhower dollar, the side with the eagle landing on the moon, might look identical across the board. But collectors know that subtle differences in the geography of Earth behind the eagle can mean the difference between $1 and thousands of dollars. The Type 1 design has a crude, low-relief Earth with weak islands. The Type 2 features a much smoother and more abstract Earth with almost no detail, making it the rarest. And the Type 3 showcases a more refined and detailed version, similar to the 1971 reverse. Now, let's zoom in on the crown jewel of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar family, the elusive Type 2 reverse. This variety was struck only at the Philadelphia Mint, and experts believe that no more than 100,000 Type 2 coins were ever produced. But here's the kicker. Many of them were lost in circulation, spent like regular coins, and are likely sitting in drawers, jars, or forgotten vending machine trays right now. What makes the Type 2 so valuable is its extreme scarcity combined with collector demand. The Earth on the reverse of this coin is almost ghost-like, so poorly defined that you can barely make out the islands of the Caribbean, and that's the telltale sign you've got a Type 2. Most people wouldn't look twice at it. But if you know what you're looking for, it could be like finding a needle in a haystack. And that needle could be worth thousands, so how much can this little dollar actually be worth? Well, it depends on its condition. Coin grading is crucial in determining the value of any collectible coin. The top grading agencies, like PCGS and NGC, use a 70-point scale, with mint state 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A circulated Type 2 1972 Eisenhower dollar might fetch a few $100s. But if you've got a pristine, uncirculated specimen, especially one graded MS66 or higher, you're potentially looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 or more. There are even examples that have sold for upwards of $15,000 at auction, thanks to their rarity and condition. Think about that. A coin originally worth a single dollar, now commanding the price of a used car. The market continues to be strong for these coins, particularly as more collectors enter the scene and become aware of these hidden rarities. Now you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these Type 2 coins? Well, you don't need to be a professional to start. First, grab a magnifying glass or a loupe. Flip the coin over to the reverse and take a close look at the globe behind the eagle. If you see clear, sharp islands and strong details, it's likely a Type 1 or Type 3. But if the Earth looks smooth, with barely any details or outlines of the Caribbean islands, congratulations, you might just have a Type 2. There are also plenty of visual guides online and comparison images to help. And if you think you've found one, you'll definitely want to send it off to a grading service for authentication over the past decade. The market for Eisenhower dollars has been heating up. What was once dismissed by many collectors as a bulky, unattractive coin has now become one of the hottest niches in numismatics. This is partly due to nostalgia. Those who grew up in the 70s remember seeing these coins in their pocket change, and partly because of the hunt. Finding a rare variety, like the 1972 Type 2, is a thrill that's hard to beat. It's the ultimate treasure hunt, a modern coin hiding in plain sight, with the potential for a huge payday. Dealers and collectors alike are paying top dollar for high-grade examples, and auction houses are listing them with increasing frequency. So if you got a box of old coins from your parents or grandparents, now's the time to dig in. So there you have the story of how one unassuming 1972 Eisenhower dollar could be worth thousands of dollars today. It's a reminder that even in the world of mass-produced modern coins, treasures still exist. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just curious about coin values, the Eisenhower dollar proves that knowledge is power and sometimes profit. The next up, 1974 Eisenhower dollar, like millions of others minted across the country during that decade. But what if I told you that one of these coins, practically indistinguishable to the untrained eye, is actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's right. A simple coin from an ordinary year, transformed by an extraordinary twist of history, technology, and rarity into one of the most expensive $1 coins in American numismatic history. Welcome back to the channel, where today we're diving deep into the captivating story of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar, specifically the mysterious and ultra-rare 1974 Eisenhower dollar struck in aluminum. This isn't just a story about a coin. It's a story about secrecy, lost artifacts, and a coin so rare that the government didn't even want it to exist. To understand the full weight of this coin's significance, we need to rewind to the early 1970s. The Eisenhower dollar was first minted in 1971, a tribute to President Dwight D. Eisenhower and also commemorating the Apollo 11 moon landing. It was the first dollar coin issued by the U.S. Mint since the peace dollar ended in 1935. Unlike the silver dollars of the past, the Eisenhower dollar was struck in copper-nickel clad for circulation, though some were made in silver for collectors. They were large, heavy, and honestly not that practical for everyday use. But they were patriotic bold, and unmistakably American. Now, enter the year 1974. The U.S. Mint was already looking ahead to future changes in coinage, driven by concerns about metal costs and practicality. Aluminum was emerging as a possible replacement metal due to its lightweight nature and affordability. In 1974, the Mint began experimenting with aluminum coins, most famously with the penny, but also, less publicly, with the dollar coin. This is where things get interesting. Only a handful of aluminum 1974 Eisenhower dollars were struck as test pieces, likely at the San Francisco Mint. And nearly all of them were supposed to be destroyed. They were never meant to leave the Mint. They were never meant to see the light of day. But somehow, at least one of them did. That single surviving specimen of the 1974 aluminum Eisenhower dollar became the stuff of legend in the coin collecting world. For decades, it was rumored to exist, but no official records confirmed it. Then, in the mid-2000s, the coin resurfaced. It had reportedly been in the possession of a former U.S. Mint employee who had taken it home, likely unaware of its eventual rarity. Legal battles quickly ensued. The U.S. Mint considered the coin to be government property, not legal to own privately. But collectors, historians, and legal experts debated the issue fiercely. Was it stolen government property, or was it an innocent relic of Mint experimentation that had simply slipped through the cracks? The coin itself was examined and verified by independent grading companies. The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, authenticated it, grading it as a specimen strike, meaning it was specially made, not mass-produced. It was struck on an aluminum planchet and bore the S Mint mark, indicating the San Francisco Mint. The coin was well preserved, showing sharp details, likely never circulated. Its rarity, historical context, and the legal drama surrounding it all elevated its status from curiosity to one of the most coveted modern coins in American numismatics in 2011. This 1974 aluminum Eisenhower dollar was expected to fetch upwards of $500,000 at auction, possibly even more if bidding escalated. But before it could be sold, the U.S. government stepped in again, reiterating their claim that the coin was unauthorized and should be returned. After legal wrangling and a lot of pressure, the owners agreed to relinquish the coin back to the government. As of today, it remains out of private hands. No public sale ever happened. But the buzz it generated still echoes in the coin world, and its estimated value continues to climb. Experts believe that if it ever did go to auction legally, it could break the $1 million mark. And yet, it's just a $1 coin. Technically, what makes this coin so fascinating isn't just its value. It's the layers of intrigue around it. Most expensive coins are either ancient rarities, mint errors, or special issues like gold or silver commemoratives. But the 1974 aluminum Eisenhower dollar is different. It's a ghost coin, a phantom piece of history that wasn't supposed to exist. Its rarity is not just in the metal or the strike, but in the very fact that it escaped destruction. That escape gives it a story. And in collecting, stories are everything. The Eisenhower dollar may not be the most loved coin series by collectors in general, but this one specimen has elevated its entire legacy. What's more, it raises important questions about coin ownership and the legality of rare pieces. If the U.S. Mint makes a coin but doesn't authorize it for release, can someone own it? What happens when a piece of national history is found in private hands? These questions don't just apply to the 1974 aluminum dollar. They echo across the hobby in cases like the 1933 Double Eagle, another famously illegal coin that caused massive legal battles. The line between public artifact and private treasure is razor thin and constantly shifting for collectors. The tale of the 1974 aluminum Eisenhower dollar is a reminder that hidden treasures might still be out there. It also teaches us that value doesn't always lie in gold, silver, or precious stones. Sometimes it lies in aluminum, in rarity, in mystery, and in stories lost to time. And while you may not ever hold this particular coin in your hand, its legend continues to inspire a new generation of coin enthusiasts and historians alike as we wrap up this deep dive. You might be wondering, Could there be more out there? Could another aluminum Eisenhower dollar be sitting in someone's drawer, forgotten, unnoticed, waiting to be rediscovered? It's entirely possible. After all, the coin world is full of surprises. The next $1 million coin might already be in someone's pocket change or buried in a box of heirlooms. That's the magic of numismatics. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than its face value. The next up, the 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollar. You've probably seen one, maybe even have one tucked away in a drawer. But what if I told you that some of these bicentennial dollars have sold for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars at auction? In this episode, we'll explore what makes certain versions of this coin so valuable, how to identify them, and why collectors around the world are still hunting for the rarest variations. So stay tuned as we reveal the secrets of the most expensive $1 coin from the bicentennial era. To understand the value and significance of the 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollar, we have to go back to the early 1970s. The United States was preparing for its 200th birthday, the bicentennial of the Declaration of Independence. It was a time of celebration, pride, and reflection. To commemorate this historical milestone, the U.S. Mint launched a special coinage series. For the first time, the reverse designs of circulating coins, the quarter, half dollar, and dollar were changed to honor the nation's bicentennial. These special coins were dual-dated, 1776 to 1976, a decision meant to emphasize the historical significance of the event. The Eisenhower dollar, which had been in circulation since 1971, was chosen as the dollar denomination to carry a special bicentennial design. On the obverse, it retained the familiar image of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, designed by Frank Gasparo. But the reverse was completely different. Instead of the traditional eagle landing on the moon, the coin featured a bold and symbolic image of the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon. This new design was created by Dennis R. Williams, a 22-year-old art student whose submission won a national competition. The U.S. Mint produced the bicentennial Eisenhower dollars between 1975 and 1976, but none of the coins are marked 1975. All of them bear the dual date, 1776 to 1976. There were several different types made. Circulation strikes in copper-nickel clad from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and special 40% silver versions produced at the San Francisco Mint, both in uncirculated and proof formats. The silver-clad coins were not released into general circulation, but were sold to collectors in sets. Each of these coins, while common in many forms, varies significantly in value depending on condition, mint mark, composition, and whether the coin has any errors or unique varieties. Most Eisenhower dollars from this period are worth only their face value or a small premium, maybe $1.50 to $5. But others, the rare ones, can fetch thousands. And in one remarkable case, a special bicentennial dollar coin was sold for a price that shocked even seasoned collectors. Among the rarest and most valuable of the 1,776 to $1,976 are the 40% silver-clad proof and uncirculated coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. These can be identified by the S mint mark on the obverse, just below Eisenhower's neck. While millions were made, only a fraction remain in pristine, untouched condition. A perfect PR-70 graded silver proof can sell for over $3,000. But what really drives the highest prices are two things: errors and prototypes. One of the most famous and elusive versions is the Type 2 reverse, known for its sharply defined lettering and fine details in the Liberty Bell. The Type 1 reverse, by contrast, has blockier and less detailed text. Collectors often seek out the rarer Type 2 coins, especially when they're in high grade. In proof format, a Type 2 can command a serious premium. Then there are the error coins. Misstrikes, double strikes, off-center strikes, and transitional errors where the wrong metal planchet is used could be extremely valuable. In one notable case, a bicentennial dollar was struck on a silver planchet intended for another denomination, creating a rare hybrid that sold for over $10,000, but the most expensive 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollar ever sold wasn't a circulation coin or even a standard proof. It was a prototype, a pattern coin, made during the design phase before final approval. These coins are never intended for public release and are usually destroyed after testing. But occasionally, one survives. In 2021, one of these rare pattern coins surfaced at auction. This coin, struck in 40% silver, featured a unique version of the Liberty Bell design with subtle differences from the final design. Experts believe it was part of a very limited run of test strikes made to evaluate how the new design would look on an actual coin. Because of its extreme rarity, likely fewer than 5 exist, and its perfect condition, the coin stunned collectors when it sold for over $80,000 at auction. That kind of price is nearly unheard of for an Eisenhower dollar. But it's a testament to the growing interest in modern U.S. coinage and the powerful role that condition, rarity, and provenance play in determining value. What started as a basic test coin ended up becoming one of the most valuable examples of its kind ever discovered. So what makes one of these coins worth tens of thousands, while most are barely worth more than $1? The answer lies in grading, rarity, and demand. Coin grading is performed by professional services like PCGS and NGC, who assess the condition on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS70 or PR70 is considered flawless under 5x magnification, the holy grail for collectors. Even a single point drop in grade can mean the difference between a $200 coin and a $5,000 one. Another key factor is strike quality. Proof coins, which are struck multiple times with polished dies on special planchets, usually have mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. These are more likely to grade highly and bring in big money. Silver-clad coins are always worth more than their copper-nickel counterparts, and mint errors or unusual varieties can increase the price exponentially. Then there's provenance, the history of the coin. A coin owned by a famous collector or one that has appeared in a major auction catalog often carries more value simply because of its story. Today, interest in the Eisenhower dollar, especially the bicentennial version, is on the rise. Collectors are rediscovering these large, bold coins, which had fallen out of favor for years. Coin shows, online marketplaces, and grading forums are buzzing with discussions about finding the perfect Type II reverse, the elusive silver errors, or the dream of uncovering a forgotten prototype in a family collection. The 1776 to 1976 Eisenhower dollar has become a symbol not just of the country's bicentennial, but of modern coin collecting, itself a bridge between everyday pocket change and the rarefied world of numismatic treasures. While most people still overlook these coins, dismissing them as bulky or common, savvy collectors know the truth. Hidden among the millions are a handful of gems that can change everything. So, next time you come across an old Eisenhower dollar, don't be so quick to spend it or toss it in a jar. Take a close look. Is it silver? Does it have an S mint mark? Is it a Type II reverse? Could it be a proof in pristine condition? Could it even be one of those ultra-rare prototypes? You never know, a simple coin you've ignored for decades could be worth thousands. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video fascinating, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any future uploads about rare coins and hidden treasures. And let us know in the comments. Do you have Eisenhower dollar in your collection? What's the most valuable coin you've ever found? Until next time, keep hunting, and remember, history is in your hands.